But Disney's also been dealing with their Marvel freaking shit too. And Marvel's been going back and forth and up and down, but what's happening. And something just came out recently where people are like, well, is James Marsden going to be in Deadpool 3 as well as Cyclops? And that leads me to our feature story of the night. I want to talk about just the MCU very briefly about the last shit. So James Marsden came out, he did an interview, and he was talking about, everyone's asking about Deadpool 3. Everybody's asking everybody about Deadpool 3, and that's what's happening these days. Because, of course, everyone's like, well, who's not going to be in Deadpool 3? Everybody's going to be in Deadpool 3. Like, that's what it comes down to, too, because you think that we had Halle Berry on set. We had freaking, we had a bunch of stuff with Ian McKellen talking about it. We had Patrick Stewart talking about it. A lot of people talking about Deadpool 3. So the question is Cyclops going to be there? Well, he was actually shooting next door when he was working on Sonic 3, shooting next door to the Deadpool 3 production. And he came on there and he goes, yeah, we were actually near the Deadpool production. Stages were right there at Pinewood. And he says, yeah, it was a little bit of a Pandora's box, which is a weird thing to say. It really is. And I think that if you're going to bring back everybody else, of course, James Marsden's coming back. Friend of the show. I love James Marsden. I worked for him for Westworld for multiple years. He's a great fucking human being. I hope he comes back. Serves the world. And if you're next door, it's the same thing as John Cena was talking about when they were shooting Barbie. He was next door shooting Fast and the Furious. They were shooting Barbie next door. Like, can you be in Barbie? And of course, he's like, yeah. And fit it between this scene and that scene. They made it happen. So I think that'll happen the same thing here. And also, like, beyond that, too, we're talking about how they've actually canceled like 3 different series. Now, Ant-Man, apparently after Quantumania, they don't want to do any more Ant-Man, which makes kind of sense, like it didn't do as well they thought it would be. Yeah, you should be in Racer. Racer X should be in that fucking shit. They don't want to do any more Marvels. They want to do any more Marvels, and they don't want to do any more Eternals. Those came out now. Those are probably the 3 projects that are canceling off there at Disney because all 3 of them. I mean, Ant-Man, I think, is still the best. And I think that, they got a raw deal that 3rd one. I love it. I worked on it again, but I get it. Didn't make the money you wanted to be, so you're not going to do it. We're also
I enjoyed Ant-Man 3. The Eternals and the Marvels can fuck themselves.
I do too, Sabrina. But also we're talking about Moff Gideon coming to be Professor X too. And the thing is about that too, I'm like, I don't know if I see him as that. He was complaining about, like, he said, like, if I were going to play him, I would not want to be in a chair. And I'm like, well, that's Professor X. I guess we didn't do that for most of it, but McAvoy wasn't in a chair for part of it, then he eventually was. So he could do that. He's like, I'm younger than that.
Younger version.
Yes. And I think that, if he does get cast, that's like
younger.
It's big. I know you're right. No, you know what I mean?
James McAvoy was the younger version. That's why he was not in the chair.
Yes. But Patrick Stewart was in the chair right away. And he's like, I'm too young to be in a chair. A lot of stuff with the Marvel casting.
That little buggy.
And with X-Men, you're right. And with X-Men, Espinato is like, yeah, I want to be in it. But the thing is, like, what happened in Marvel, I think they are canceling productions that just don't make sense. And there's also, we talked about on Wednesday, I was bringing it for Jordan because it was like, I know he wanted to say something about, Henry Cavill being Wolverine, but a lot of changes. And these X-Men still are a big thing moving forward. Are you surprised? Are we surprised they're canceling these projects that didn't do too well? I'm like, Jake, you see this as a production standpoint. You got the Eternals, you got Ant-Man, you got the Marvels. They're like some of their lowest ones. Ant-Man did better than the other 2. But as a production, do you continue forward with those? And you think that's even smart to make those like any kind of sequels moving forward? The Eternals has been on standby for years, even though that bombed a long time ago, Jake. It's crazy, isn't it?
It does seem kind of crazy. And I don't know, maybe they'll just have them there as filler because they don't know what else to do. I don't know. It seems like there's so much content and so many different directions they can go. It's like they choose to, they're like, let's just do them all. And then 2% of them are big and the other ones they can just write off, like Warner Brothers. Like, they're just like, okay.
Okay, WB, man.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'd rather see them not release stuff and have to wait for something good than to have to sift through a bunch of crap.
Yep.
And, it's just, but at the same time, actors and people working on set are getting paid. So
it's good.
That's good that there's projects happening, but if they don't bring in the money, then I don't know. It's like all the McDonald's out there. They're not that great, but they're employing people and they're selling food, right? So they have a market share, but they're not all going to be bangers.
Yeah, they're never going to be. How do you feel about, like, I don't know if you're a big X-Men fan, but how do you feel like the casting? Like, if we bring in Moff Gideon here to be Professor X, does he make sense?
He could do it, but I don't know if he makes sense.
Yeah, he's already fighting about being in a chair, right? Which is like the big part of that character. Like, yeah, I mean, honestly, man, like, you're gonna forget that's he's Professor X.
Yeah, if that's the character that you're going to sign a contract for, then you should play the character as you should. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an actor, so I don't get it. But if you want to bring your if you want to put your spin on something, then write your own damn script. Don't do it on somebody else's.
Shots fired. You're right. I love James Marsden, though. I think that I would love to see him come back as Cyclops. He got a raw deal in The Last Stand for the X-Men movies, so I think he got a raw deal. Sabrina, what do you think about this? Do you think that that them canceling these or not moving forward these 3 franchises is a smart move for Marvel and Disney? I think that's like a track record that Disney will keep doing. They'll be canceling stuff that doesn't do well. And can you imagine like Moff Gideon as Professor X?
As far as canceling the Eternals and the Marvels, I am 100% in support of. I couldn't watch another Eternals movie if you tied me to a chair and strapped my face into something so I couldn't look away. My eyes would literally bleed. It was horrific. What was the other one? The Marvels? Jesus Christ. I can't. Let's not even get me started on that. We all know how I feel about what's her name? Brie Larson.
Brie Larson, yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. So yeah, that I'm all for. I think that Ant-Man 3 got a really like raw deal. I thought MODOK was hilarious. I thought that Michelle Pfeiffer was spectacular and gorgeous. I thought that not Michael Keaton. What is his name? Catherine Zeta-Jones' husband, Michael Douglas. Jesus.
Douglas, yeah.
I thought that he was hilarious and did a great job. The little cameo by Bill Murray was hilarious. Obviously Paul Rudd is Paul Rudd, always great. Like, I mean, and I thought that some of the only moments of Kang that I actually enjoyed that Jonathan Majors played was his moments with Michelle Pfeiffer when they were trying to rebuild his spaceship and get things going. So like, I think that there was a lot of really good things there. Also, Chidi from A Good Place was great. And the guy Holes, he was amazing.
Holes, he was awesome.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like there were a lot of really good things. I mean, there was a lot of really good acting, and I'm confused as to why it didn't do so well. So I wouldn't be too quick to cancel that. But that being said, I'm sure Ant-Man will appear in other situations in the Marvel universe.
Oh, yeah.
So those characters will probably reappear. I don't think any of the Eternals characters will reappear. And maybe some of the Marvel ladies might show up if they make the smart choice. It would be the young lady who plays Mrs. Marvel, because she was great. Actually, she was the only one that was worth a shit in that movie. So I just that's where I'm at with that. I feel like Ant-Man is somehow lumped in with 2 shit shows, and that's not very fair. As far as Moff Gideon, as you keep calling him, playing Professor X. I mean, if you're going to be argumentative and annoying as a producer, I would fire you. I would just be like, you know what? Great. We're just going to go with someone else. I get it. You're a name.
There's a lot of fan calling for him though.
Sure. Great. But if you're going to be a dick and be like, I'm not going to be in a wheelchair and I'm going to do that's the fucking part it's like, I read a script and I'm like, you know what? It's a quadriplegic who has 1 eye. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. It sounds great, but I want 2 eyes and I'm not going to be a quadriplegic. Like, that's not how it goes. You're playing the characters that they give you. So it's just like, I mean, I don't know what kind of ownership you feel to a character that is written already and has been played already and that is established in comic books, and you think that you have the right to change that. That's kind of annoying to me as a producer. If I was running a show and I'd be like, yeah, absolutely not. We're not giving him X many $1 million because he is a very well-known actor, a very successful actor, a very good actor. So I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to put that money somewhere else to someone who will play the role the way it's supposed to be played. That's just that's me looking, from the producer standpoint. Now, that being said, I I also think that he would be good if he would agree to do what he was supposed to do, in some sort of a multiverse situation, like we were saying with Henry Cavill playing Superman. I
Yeah.
think it would be, and maybe in a multiverse he is walking, and if he was it was a cameo type of situation and it wasn't going to carry through, I'd be fine with him not being in a wheelchair. I guess I don't know. It's
It's
just
a different world then.
I don't like the obstinance of any, if you take a role, you take a role, you take what's written on the paper, and like maybe you're like, geez, I don't really think she'd sit here. I feel like she's very upset and she'd stand up. That's something I could listen to, but I don't want to be in a wheelchair is not something that I can listen to. You know what I mean? It just seems,
Yeah.
So I'm a
it's
little
like-
bit annoyed with that. Go ahead, honey.
I would say it's kind of like, what the fuck? Like, this is the role, and people are asking for it. It's a big opportunity, but that's who Professor X is. It's like you can't really change the comic lore that much. And and he knows he's been involved with Star Wars. That
Yep.
People are
And
very
honestly,
adamant about how characters are.
I think he's a very good actor. I did not care for him as Moff Gideon at all. I really didn't. I know that's unpopular.
It's great in Breaking Bad.
Did not care for him as Moff Gideon. He didn't feel menacing. He didn't feel evil. He just was kind of like, angry and like snapping his fingers for minions. Like I just didn't feel it. And even like when he was fighting at the end, I don't know. I didn't really care for that. And so that is also kind of swaying me. Like that was like sort of not superhero, but sort of like that same sci-fi sort of fantasy situation. But I don't want him to come in here and and unimpress me again. I'm not saying he will. He's a very good actor. Maybe it's great, but just the obstinance, I have a problem. It's a red flag for me being on the other side, on the production side of things.
I see there's really a lot of problems happening with this, and he's not even cast yet, and it's like a whole thing. So I don't know.
Oh, look, boom. Professor X can't walk. He would lose his powers if he walked.
There you go.
Thank you, Queen.
There you go.
Thank you. I didn't even know that. Didn't even know that. Thank you, Queen.
So he needs to stop. But Ron, of course, from production standpoint,
Queen, you need to come on the show. I'm going to say it one more time. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Queen, come on the show.
You can fight. She's not going to do it. I don't think. Maybe Queen, you can come anytime you want.
Come on.
But Ron, as a production standpoint, it's like you see Disney's. We talked about this before. Disney's been silently canceling stuff, and Bob Iger came in and he's like, "Well, this stuff's not working." And sometimes you just got to cut ties from shit. Like it's like, yeah, we have an idea. We've started building it. We've been developing it, but overall, like we're hemorrhaging money to figure this out. Are you surprised that they're canceling? Like, I mean, those are pretty big franchises. They're not moving forward. Ant-Man, Eternals, also the Marvels. Does that surprise you? Do you think that Disney's in a bad spot, or the House of Mouse has to stop this shit?
Drink.
Is it weird to you?
Well, you say they're big franchises. Well, the bigger the franchise, the bigger the payday on it. So canceling these things, in my opinion, they're trying to cut corners to save money. They're trying to pull money in from somewhere. They might be in some precarious shape. I'm not sure.
They're acting like they are, Ron. They're acting like
they really are.
It's really because it's Disney at the end of the day. You think that Disney would be fine, They are one of the biggest. They have a monopoly almost over the business as well. So like the fact that Bob Iger is like, yeah, we're just going to silently cancel a bunch of stuff without actually putting on. I mean, they're going to have to put all this stuff out.
Not in the climate of what's going on with everything. And with them, no, it doesn't surprise me. It seems maybe a bit drastic, but it doesn't surprise me.
It's not even cast already having demands about how their characters should be or not.
Okay, well, that's a whole thing with actors, all respect and everything. But it's a producer cannot say no to an actor. And that's what has created this whole ego thing. So, yeah, an unnamed actor making demands, that's absolutely ridiculous. It's asinine. And they're going to learn a very, very hard lesson.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that he can try his best, but the thing is, the fan base knows what they know and what they want. Yeah. And he's had some fame, but not, but I think that overall you're coming into this big part. It's a huge opportunity for any actor too to play Professor X. Huge. Yeah. Huge. You're following the steps of Patrick Stewart, and people are
you show up, you know your lines, you know your marks, and you do your day. That's what you do.
you freaking hit it. You hit it and you move on, and then you make great art. But you're always a part of the cog. You're part of the whole machine. You're cogging the whole machine. And I think sometimes people overstep themselves. And I think.
I'm sorry. I hate to break it to the fans, but there's someone called a casting director, and they cast the movie, not you. So I'm sorry.
Yep. It's true. Well, the fans sometimes have influence. Look at John Krasinski came in to be, again,
that was a cameo situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It can happen, though.
It can.
GR, how you feeling about this, though, GR? Do you think that Marvel is going the right direction? What do you
Tip up your
say?
cups, throw your hands up, drink. Thank you, Ty. Are we too sober?
Right direction? Probably. You think we're in the right direction, GR? Do you want to see, because they're canceling a bunch of stuff now? Again, we were talking about they're canceling a bunch of stuff. Are they going the right direction? Are they figuring it out? Will this next phase figure themselves out and work out well? Or do you think that they're going downhill and they're not going to come back?
Oh, they'll come back. I mean, it's Disney, for Christ's sakes. I mean, they got more money than Kruse.
Drink.
Brian, your show should not have been canceled. It was. I liked all of them, even the one you were in. But
oh shit!
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist that. But Miss Marvel, despite the fact that Sabrina's favorite actress was in it, I liked it. I thought it was cute.
Oh, it's terrible.
You have that right to that opinion, even if it's wrong, Sabrina. I love you.
No, it's right. It's right. Everyone hated it. Look at the box office. Right. I am correct. I am correct.
The joy of theater. We're all entitled to an opinion on a movie.
Touche.
The other one, the third one, it was crap. I'll agree with that. But I think Disney will come back and make gazillions of dollars on a lot of movies over the years.
As they always do.
Yep.
The idiot that wants to rewrite a character because he didn't want to be in a wheelchair, everyone has said it correctly. What a bunch of horse shit. You take a role, you do your job, show up on time, which is 10 minutes early, not on time.
Unless you're me.
And do your job. That's it. Nothing else.
You're right. And that's it. And I think that you can't change it. You can't change it. Professor X.
He just said he would lose
rewrite the script.
He would lose his powers if he's not in the wheelchair. So sorry, that's not up for discussion.
Sorry.
How are we even having this conversation?
Sabrina.
Sorry, buddy.
Queen is wrong on that.
She is?
He had the powers before he was in the wheelchair. They just got enhanced when he could no longer walk. Read the comic books before you make comments.
Oh, first of all, tone it down, Dilligaff.
Queen didn't read the comic books.
Oh, she knows more than anyone on the show, first of all.
She does.
I was reading those comic books before Queen was born.
Easy peasy.
I'm sorry.
More drinking.
But he had the powers before he was in the chair.
Right, but if he was not in the chair, would he be able to do what he does currently?
Yes. Maybe not as strongly, but he could still do it.
He's definitely
he could do that crap before he was in the chair.
Ish. No, not ish.
Not necessarily ish. We don't know.
Not
because
necessarily
it wasn't written in
ish.
the comic book.
Because then he couldn't walk, and then everything got heightened. To be perfectly honest, I have no idea. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Write that into the comic.
All right, well, let's call them up and see what the fuck they think. Let's see what Giancarlo Esposito has with that guy.
Sabrina, remember, he's dead.
No, call him up. It's fine. It's totally cool. We did 9 stories on ghosts and breaking news. We can get a hold of him. I have a Ouija board. It's totally fine.
we can figure it out.
If you reach him, let me know because I'm leaving the room.
I will.
Can we drink now?
They can haunt me. I'm in Florida. They can stay in the hotel room. I'm leaving soon.
Oh, God.
I just think, though, at the end of the day, Marvel, again, is in a weird spot, and I think they got to figure some shit out. And that's what we talk about all the time on this show. I think we just got to figure some shit out and then, go from there, honestly, because they're changing stuff, canceling stuff, moving stuff, shaping stuff. Peppy, what do you think? Peppy, can Marvel figure this out?
MCU, get your shit together.
Thanks, Peps. That's all Peps got to say about this.
Good point.
Yeah. And Peppy, I don't think the mouse will actually make this happen.
Drink.
That's an impression. Drink.
Oh, damn, Peppy. All right, thank you. All right.
Thank you, Peppy, for the backup.
Mm-hmm.
He would
Anyways,
lose most
everybody-
of his powers. He probably couldn't even power up his cyber computer.
Oh, shit. Or a
Cerebro?
Cybertruck.
That's what it's called. Cerebro? Or a Cybertruck, Brian?
As everybody, MCU is trying
Thank you,
to...
Rick.
Nuts.
Very much so. Happy Friday, everybody. MCU is trying to figure some stuff out. Again, they're canceling stuff, moving stuff, shaking stuff. I agree. I think Ant-Man's a great franchise, and unfortunately, the last one didn't do as well, and I really wanted more residual money. But I think they did a great job with it,
fault,
and I think that Eternals is shit, and I think that also the Marvels just you see the numbers. You can't make more of those movies. You can do it, but it's not going to make the money, unfortunately, for everybody that's involved with those projects. And at the end of the day, if you're casting a Marvel thing, be excited. Don't be Jonathan Majors and walk out of the room and say, you deserve me. Say, I'm happy to be here. Because as an actor, you are very fucking lucky to get there. That's like the cream of the crop, the head of the fucking trail. You're there at the top of the mountain, and you have the best scenario ever, and your career's only going to grow further once you're there. So if you get the opportunity, don't bitch, don't moan, accept, have fun.
Sit in a
grow
wheelchair and
with
shut the
Marvel.
fuck up. That's preferred blocking. It's called preferred blocking. Sit in a wheelchair. Preferred block. Everyone's always like, "Can I just sit?" And they're like, "No, you need to stand." And they're like, "God damn it!" No, I want to sit.
Your stand-in will thank you.